Yo, what is up, YouTubers and YouTubettes? Today I want to talk to you guys about the Canon 1DX2 and the Canon EOS-R because 2020 is coming up, Black Friday is coming up, Cyber Monday, and a lot of people are definitely going to be looking for new cameras to buy or upgrades. So I want to talk to you guys about the 1DX2 and the EOS-R. What's better to get in 2019? Hey YouTube, so before we get started, my name is David and I want to mention that I have an ebook out. You can check it out in the description below. Pretty much it covers the basics of photography and videography. I put this together. It took me a few months, but I did it. It's very personal. It's not like too formal, so I kind of wanted to type it in a way that you can understand it, kind of a way that you might talk to your friends or something. So it's very intimate. There's a lot of pictures, there's a lot of samples, lots of terminology, and a lot of things you can learn. It's $35, it's in my shop, people have bought it, people loved it, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So check out the link in the description below if you guys want to check that out. So first of all, I want to run through the pros and the cons with you guys because of course, I want to tell you guys about the things I like about both cameras and things that I hate about both cameras. For obvious reasons, I can't show you guys both cameras, so I have the 1DX2 here in front of me. I am shooting on the EOS-R, so I cannot show you guys what's happening there, but I will give you guys some B-roll and whatnot to show you guys kind of what I mean for specific things. First things first, let's go through the pros with the Canon 1DX2. So I love the quality that comes out of this camera. The 4K 60 is amazing to have. I love being able to have 4K amazing quality and be able to slow it down at least to 40% speed because that makes for such amazing shots. Not cinematic shots, but just really cool slow motion. Like I really love the detail that comes out of this 4K. On top of that, the shooting speed is crazy. You are able to shoot, 16 photos a second? Crazy. I love that. And I love the crisp sound of the shutter. The shutter is so crisp and beautiful. I've never heard any camera shoot like it, and I love everything about it. The color that comes out of the 1DX2 is pretty amazing. I love the footage that comes out of Canon cameras in general. So the colors that come out of it, the color science, the Canon color science is insane, and I love everything about every Canon camera color. Definitely if you're looking for color, Canon is the way to go. As far as weight goes, it is on the heavier side. I believe it is 2 or 3 pounds alone with just the body. That can go both ways. It could be good or it could be bad. I love the weight because it adds stabilization. It allows me to hold this more steady, more still because it acts as its own counterweight. And counterweights are something you need to use for things that are like heavy on one side or too light, you know? Having this added weight just makes it feel more comfortable. It feels more sturdy in my hand too. Like I can really lift this comfortably and know that I'm safe with whatever direction I hold it in or whatever way I hold it. Usually I walk around and I hold it like this with two fingers or something. Yeah. Don't do that. It has dual memory card slots, which means that I can hold 2 memory cards in here. But for some, that might be a harder option for you because this camera does use more expensive cards. It uses CF and CFast cards. So depending on your budget, alone this camera is going to be a lot of money. But then you have to make sure you add the memory cards. You might want to get a spare battery, which this battery is $150 each. So it's going to be a lot more expensive when it comes down to it. The price tag is super hefty, and that is a con, not a pro. But when it comes down to it, dual memory card slots is amazing because you can record all day long depending on how much storage you have. It has a vertical battery grip, means you can hold it vertically and you can hold it horizontally. I love being able to do that because I can shoot photos all I want vertically because for Instagram and whatnot, and then also have the option to shoot horizontally, especially for video and stuff. And I also can hold both grips like this, and you know, this might be a little uncomfortable. You know, honestly, that's uncomfortable. Let's not do that. It's just an overall amazing hybrid camera. But let's talk about the cons. Honestly, there is only 4 other cons besides the price tag that I can honestly think of. 1, you don't get CLOG. Now, a lot of cameras, they're giving you log profiles built into the cameras, but the 1DX2 does not have Canon log built into it, which is super annoying. So you have to download these third-party ones, install them on your camera, and it just doesn't match up with other Canon cameras. It just doesn't come out as great as it could be, but it's not that bad. Something that I really hate is the autofocus misses a lot of time. I don't know why. Like dual pixel autofocus is amazing. The 1DX2 will have its moments where it works super amazing, but then sometimes when I'm in the middle of recording a video, it just misses focus. Like I'll be touching the face and it just misses. That could be my dirty lenses, could be a dirty sensor, could be the camera itself, could be a firmware thing. I don't know. I'm up to date on firmware, but I don't know. It happens, you know, it happens to a lot of cameras, but you know, I just don't know. I feel like this could be a 1DX2 thing. So keep that in mind. But it's not bad autofocus. It's still completely amazing autofocus. It's just that when I do my moving shots, it misses. Otherwise, tracking is amazing. Everything else is amazing with autofocus. It's just sometimes when I'm moving in video, it misses. Back on that weight, it can be hard to stabilize things. I stabilized this on the Ronin S plenty of times. Sometimes it's, you know, a little bit off. You can't get it always perfect, but for the most part, it may be harder on a lot of stabilizers, and it gets super heavy when you throw it on a stabilizer too. So it's something that you can accommodate to, something that you'll get used to. But if you're starting off and throwing it on a stabilizer, it's not gonna work out. And you can't use it on like Zhiyun cranes and stuff. It has to be the Ronin S, the Ronin M, big stabilizers, or really, really heavyweight stabilizers. And lastly, the megapixels and the photo quality overall. Of course, it's gonna be not as noticeable, but if you're shooting on the EOS-R and the 1DX2, you'll come to realize that the EOS-R has a lot better photo quality. It's that extra 10 megapixels, plus all the other features of the EOS-R that the 1DX2 does not have, but the photos still come out okay. Sometimes I'll miss focus, sometimes I'll notice that the photo's a little bit soft. Overall, the picture quality is okay. It's not bad, it's just okay to me though. But the shooting speed is amazing. Anyways, those are the pros and cons of the 1DX2. Let's jump on over to the EOS-R and let's talk about it. So the Canon EOS-R, I made a video about this. I've talked about the 5 things that I hate about the Canon EOS-R, as well as some things that I liked about it in that video. So if you guys haven't seen that video, you can definitely check that out. It's probably gonna be a better video than this, with a lot more B-roll, with a lot more explanation, really heavily focused on the EOS-R. But let's jump into it. The first thing that I didn't mention in that video that I really, really like about this camera is the cropped mode. You can crop in the sensor. You can do crop video, you can do crop photo, where it kind of gives you an APS-C. So if you really think about it, you're having a full frame camera and an APS-C camera in one body, which is absolutely amazing. So I can make my lens a 50 and a 75mm at the same time. Totally crazy. I love that feature because sometimes I just don't want to get close. So I could throw it on my 70 to 200, focus in at 200, and then turn on that crop mode and make it a 300mm lens. I love it. I love that part. The next thing is the flip out screen. I love having a flip out screen to be able to kind of look at yourself. This is perfect for vloggers and whatnot. My friend was looking for a camera. He was gonna get a 5D4 and I was like, no, for you, I know what you do. The EOS-R is gonna be so much better for you. That flip out screen, all the features and stuff, which leads into the next one, is the eye autofocus. I love having eye autofocus because why would you wanna focus on the nose when you can focus on the eyeball, you know? The eyes are what makes your image, so being able to focus on that eyeball is going to make your image that much better, that much sharper, and that much more intimate. We get built-in CLOG. Now I mentioned that the 1DX2 does not have CLOG, so being able to have CLOG on this camera is super amazing. Thank you to the EOS-R for giving us CLOG. I love Canon color, and being able to shoot Canon video in Canon color is even better. It has a lighter weight. Now this could be good and could be bad because the lighter weight means it could be a little bit less stable, but it makes up for it because the EOS-R has image stabilization built in. Now it's not the best image stabilization that I've ever seen because the best image stabilization I've ever seen comes in the Panasonic cameras, the GH5, those S1H, all of those cameras. But it's not bad. It's still good, it's usable. It's just that I feel like sometimes when I see it in video, I get this kind of weird feeling. It's kind of just like warp stabilization Premiere Pro when it messes up and gives you that like really wavy look. Sometimes that happens in the EOS-R and I don't really like that. So I try to not use the maximum image stabilization. I just try to use the minimum, like the very, very bare minimum image stabilization. It's okay. Now this one isn't a big one for me, but there is an electronic viewfinder, which means that when you look through the eyepiece, this thing here, you know, like when you hold it up, you can actually see the video, you can see what's on the screen as you make changes. So when it comes to the DSLRs, the mirrored cameras, the ones with the with the glass inside. You don't get that because it's not electronic. So when it comes to the electronic, you're basically looking at the monitor, the screen through here. It's just like another smaller screen for you to focus on where it's dark, where you can see everything so the sun doesn't like blur anything out. It just makes it easier for you to be able to use. Personally, I don't even use it, so to me, it doesn't matter that much. The ergonomics on both cameras are super amazing. The EOS-R is super small, super lightweight. Everything kind of fits where you need it to be, and there's a lot of different manual controls than custom controls that you can control. I said control 3 times. There's a lot of things that you can change up just to fit your needs so that you can kind of find everything comfortably. And the thing that I love the most is focus peak. Focus peaking and focus assist are absolutely amazing, especially when you're doing manual focus in video. The mirrored cameras don't get that, but the electronic cameras, the mirrorless cameras, it's in every single one of them because it's electronic, it's beautiful, it's amazing. I have to use a monitor for my 1DX2 so that I can get some focus peaking, but I love focus peaking. It makes manual focusing so much easier. Pretty much it outlines what you need in focus. It outlines what's in focus for you so that you can see what you're focusing on. That's what focus peaking is. Now let's talk about the con. First things first, if you buy the camera and you're using EF lenses, regular Canon lenses, you need an adapter, and that can get super annoying. It's an extra expense. There's no 4K 60. Now this isn't big for a lot of people, but it's kind of big for me, especially because I have the 1DX2. So if the EOS-R had 4K 60, I would honestly use it 10 times more than my 1DX2 because right now I shoot most of my photos on the EOS-R and a lot of like 99% of my videos on the 1DX2 with the EOS-R as a B cam. But if they had 4K 60, I might as well just make my EOS-R the A cam, you know? There's 120 FPS on the EOS-R, but it's only in 720p, which is virtually unusable for most of us because nobody wants to shoot in 720p. 1080 has been the bare minimum for the past decade. Let's stick to 1080p, please. Again, with image stabilization, I mentioned that it is wonky and it's a little bit weird, so that is a con. But it's not like a huge con because it's still usable. And the battery life in the EOS-R, it's not too bad, but compared to my 1DX2, which I'm spoiled, I have been using it for 2 years, and I had a great time lasting batteries for hours and hours and hours. The EOS-R dies pretty quick compared to it, but it's not bad battery. And the last thing is when you're using a crop frame lens, you can't shoot 60 FPS. That is something that people don't talk about. I don't think a lot of people experienced it, but I've noticed it because when I use my 18-35, which is my favorite video lens, I can only shoot in 24 frames per second. It sucks because I love to shoot 60 in this, get some beautiful slow motion with a shallow depth of field, but I can't. It only lets me shoot in 24 frames per second. So that is something that I really don't like. And I didn't even notice last time because I sold this lens. I never used it on the EOS-R, but now that I've used it on the EOS-R or 1DX2, what camera would I recommend to you? And of course, it all depends on your purpose. But I'm gonna tell you which one I suggest that you get though. Let's break it down. So the 1DX2 is going to be a sports photography camera with amazing video features while it's at it. And the 1DX3 is also releasing soon. So honestly, if you wanted to get the 1DX2, you might as well wait for the 1DX3 to release because it'll get cheaper, or you could cop the 1DX3 and just get a little bit more features out of it for the same price that the 1DX2 is now, which is a rumor because I don't know what the 1DX3 price is, but I'm assuming that it's going to be around the same price. The 1DX2 is great for higher quality video, slow motion. People have been using it for vlogs. It's not a vlog camera, but it makes for amazing footage. It takes great pictures. It takes amazing video. It has amazing battery life. It has an amazing weight. It'll make you look super professional. As for the EOS-R, which looks like a regular camera, but it has all these features like eye autofocus, focus peaking. It has a flip out screen for vlogging. It has a lighter weight, so you can do that. It has a lot of custom controls. It has a lot of modularity when it comes down to it. You can add so much stuff to it. You can customize all the buttons. You can have all these other like little gadgets and gizmos tied to it without it getting way too heavy. There's a lot of things you can do with it. But as far as purpose of use, I think that the EOS-R is going to be a lot better option for a lot of people. Mainly because it can give cinematic footage, it can get really cool, it can create that amazing image as a hybrid camera, take amazing photos at 30 megapixels. But also, it's great for people that are getting closer into the game, not really all the way up there. They're not like sure that they want to like completely invest into this, or they just want to invest in a more expensive cinema camera later, or something like a higher end camera later, while they're still thinking about it. The EOS-R makes for a perfect transitional camera because it gives you all the quality that you're gonna need in a camera for vlogging, for videos, for photos, for pretty much anything, for YouTube in general, and just overall creation. Plus that image stabilization makes it easier for a lot of people. So if you're really just getting into it, if you really just want a lighter weight camera or a B cam, the EOS-R is definitely going to be an amazing camera for you, especially if you're upgrading from something smaller like the Rebel series or A6300 or even just a A7R2 or something. Those make for amazing cameras. Like the EOS-R is going to really help you out. It's going to stick to that mirrorless and it's going to give you all that really cool features. While the 1DX2 is also an amazing camera, it's definitely bulkier, but I think it's made for more of the higher end professional kind of feel for DSLRs. I don't think you should invest in the 1DX2 if you're just doing it for fun, if you don't think you can make money off of it, because the 1DX2 is going to be a moneymaker. You need to use it to make money to be able to pay it off because it's super expensive. The investment that you put in is super expensive. CFast cards are like $300, $400, and that's a memory card. And you're definitely going to need more than one of those. Plus the battery's like $150. I don't think that the 1DX2 is honestly worth the investment. I invested in it 2 years ago. It was definitely worth it for me. I made so much money off of it, but now, this day and age, there are so many new cameras. It's been 2 years, and there's just so many new cameras that can honestly top the 1DX2 as far as quality, as far as modularity, as far as ergonomics, as far as comfortability and price. The 1DX2, is it worth it in 2019? It really depends on how much you can spend and how much you think you can make off of it in the next year. Because a year from now, the 1DX3 is going to be out. There's going to be probably like 7 more cameras released. And I don't know if it's going to be worth the investment to buy it now. In 2019, 2020, honestly, I wouldn't get the 1DX2 for 2020. So maybe stick to the EOS-R or stick to whatever you have now, wait a year and wait for all the prices to drop, and it might be worth it. But I love both cameras. The 1DX2, the EOS-R, they're both amazing cameras. The 1DX2 is my A cam, the EOS-R is my B cam. I love them both to death, and I will keep them. I'm not gonna sell my 1DX2, I'm not gonna sell my EOS-R. They're amazing cameras. If I don't use them, they're gonna sit on the shelf until I do. So anyways, that's all for today's video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a kind of a long video. I don't think a lot of people made this kind of video, but I've been using the 1DX2 for 2 years now, EOS-R for a year now, and I love both of them. They're amazing cameras. They work really well together, and they're just going to give you a lot of options. So either way, if you guys want to check out the cameras, links are in the description below. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much. Have an amazing day, morning, night, wherever you're watching from. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're already subscribed. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.